We're here at the Tanker Shipping and Trade Conference in London, October 2024, and I'm very pleased to have with us Richard Matthews from Gibson Shipbrokers. He's a director of research and consultancy, but I know he represents the company here, far and wide. Now, with you being here at the moment, it'd be very interesting to get your impression on what's happening with tanker rates at the moment.
Sure, I mean the market's been really mixed. We've seen a lot of volatility over the summer. Typically we see a seasonal decline in tanker freight rates as we go through the summer period, but this year it's started to feel different. People have started to get more nervous this year if the markets have turned weaker, and that's been driven by a number of fundamental changes we're seeing as well. So we all know that China's economy has been slowing down, there's an energy transition ongoing in China, and we're seeing their oil demand slow down, particularly contrasted to the levels we saw last year. So that's impacting both VLCC tanker flows into China. It's also impacting on their demand for refined products as well. So a real slowdown we're seeing in the sector there. But we are now starting to see a seasonal uptick. Bad weather is always good for the tanker markets. We're seeing refineries coming out of maintenance and the markets are starting to improve. But there's definitely a change in sentiment in the markets where people are now more concerned about the longer term outlook.
Okay, well, you mentioned sentiment and longer term outlook, which brings me to the $500 million question. If you had $500 million to invest, which tanker sector and why would you invest in?
So there's two sectors that are really interesting for me right now. One is the VLCCs. Now, obviously it's the most expensive asset class. $500 million isn't going to go too far in that market. But we see still a lot of long-haul trade growth. We see crude production in the Americas, and we still see that demand growth in Asia Pacific. So the VLCC is the most economic way to get that cargo to market. But I also like the handies. So at the much smaller end of the spectrum, we've seen very little investment, but there are still ports around the world that have draft restrictions. That fleet is aging faster than any other fleet, and it does need new investment. So maybe a couple of handies, 2 or 3 VLCCs, and then my money's gone. Okay,
well that's very interesting, especially on the handy side. I was not expecting that. So thank you very much, and that was very enlightening.
Pleasure.
Thank you.